In honor of a massive duck documentary releasing in a few months, I figured I'd show you a few tips and tricks ahead of time. Today we'll be talking about the best duck breeds to start out with. I'll be using both my personal experience along with general opinion in this video, so without any further ado, let's begin. The Cayuga Duck is one of the most interesting duck breeds that is available on the market. So let's talk about one of the best duck breeds out there. At the end of this section, I'll be placing them, all these breeds on a tier list to give you more of a perspective on my opinion. For that, we'll be ranking them on friendliness, egg production, and time dedication, and of course, price, which is the most important one for some people. Cayuga ducks are actually fairly flighty, at least from my experience. They tend to run away very easily and tend to be scared, and to support my experience, I actually have a total of 2 Cayuga ducks, well, had a total of 2 Cayuga ducks, and one of them, named Captain Blackwing, was my original profile picture. She was easily the most flighty duck I've ever owned. She would run away very easily, and she was also not really the most intelligent duck that I've ever owned. I had another Cayuga named What the Duck. She was also just a little bit better than Captain Blackwing. And most people also said they had similar experiences with their Cayuga ducks, so they give them a 6.5 out of 10 in this category. While this duck may be lacking in its first category, they certainly aren't in the second. They lay roughly 180 eggs a year, and each egg seems to be different. At the start of the season, the eggs are a very dark gray color, but by the end of the season, the eggs lighten up significantly. So there's obviously a huge variety. They lay consistently between the months of February and November, which means they'll be consistently getting you some of the highest quality eggs out there that are of medium size. I'll be giving them a 9.8 out of 10 in this category. The amount of time that you have to dedicate to this duck breed isn't a lot unless you really want to tame them. This means that if you don't want to dedicate a whole lot of time to them, then you don't have to. All that you have to do is just open the door every morning, or you can just purchase an automatic door, just feed them and give them water every day. It's very simple and it works. So I'll be giving them a 9.4 out of 10. Now, since we got them 4 years ago, I had to take this up once again, but from what I found, they aren't terribly expensive, usually costing about $14 a piece, but if you buy a ton of them, that price can drop as low as $8.99. But obviously they can get a little bit pricey, so I'll be giving them an 8.8 out of 10 in this category. But ducks are not as cheap as chickens, which is why this score is not absolutely down in the gutters. Doing some simple math, we can quickly determine that the average rating is 8.6 out of 10, which will land them right in the B tier on this video, which is shocking considering that they are a bit closer to C tier in my opinion. Now, if you thought the Cayuga ducks are great, you clearly haven't seen the Rouen ducks. They have everything you need and more. Now, it is worth noting that they are a bit big, but one might even argue that they are massive. But that won't be the biggest duck we'll even talk about today, so without any further ado, let's jump into it. If you are wondering, they're easily one of the most friendly ducks that you could buy. I've owned a total of 1 Rouen duck, and she was the friendliest duck that I've ever owned. Other people tend to agree with me, so this duck is one of the friendliest ducks available out there, so I'll be giving them a 9.9 out of 10 in this category. If you are wondering, they actually do lack a little bit in this category. On average, they will lay about 145 eggs per year, but the eggs they lay are massive. And these are huge blue eggs, which are almost double the size of the previous duck I just talked about in terms of egg size. They're easily 2 times bigger than a chicken egg, which means you can manage to collect a dozen of them, and then you could easily sell these for at least 2 times more than chicken eggs. When we sold duck eggs briefly in 2022, they retailed on our farm stand for $7. For comparison, the chicken eggs retailed at only $3, so I'll be giving them an 8.6 out of 10 in this category. Similar to the Cayuga ducks, you don't really need to be dedicating that much time to them. All that you really have to do is just remember that they're a lot bigger than the other duck, which may mean that you may need to build a bigger entrance and exit to the coop. This may need a little bit more feed than other ducks, but it's just fine, so I'll be giving them a 9.2 out of 10 in this category. These guys are actually fairly priced, coming in at about $9.99, which means they're about $2 to $3 cheaper than the Cayuga ducks. Now, $10 may sound expensive if you're a chicken owner, but considering that most chickens are $4 to $8 on average, but keep in mind, this is an absolute deal, especially for a duck. Even though they aren't the cheapest ducks out there that are available, I'd still be giving them a 9.1 out of 10 in this category. Similar to the Cayuga duck, we do have to do some basic math to determine their placement on this list. but the average comes out to being 9.2 out of 10, which will land them in the A tier. So if you're wondering why they fell short of the S tier, it's because the S tier requires a score of 9.5 out of 10 and above. So I personally think that they are S tier, but the calculator never lies, so that's the score. These ducks are easily one of the most recognizable ducks, even being the mascot for the company known as Aflac. My original plan was to actually buy a couple of them in the spring of 2023, but sadly, plans quickly changed. If you thought the Rouen Duck was the best in this category, then you will be mistaken, because these guys are the most friendly ducks that exist, which is why I recommend them to beginners. They're easy to take care of, and they're not very aggressive, even considering their size. So I'll be giving them a 10 out of 10 in this category. Due to their larger size, you may want to think that they lay only a few eggs a year, but that simply isn't further from the truth. When I looked it up for the first time, I was like, wow, that's insane when I saw the number. They lay anywhere from 175 to 265 eggs per year, which is on the same level as chicken breeds like the Buff, Orpington, and Bantam chickens. The egg color is unsurprisingly a bluish-white color, so I'll be giving them a 9.5 out of 10 in this category. They are similar to the last two breeds of ducks and hold a very similar size to the Rouen, so as long as you give them essential care and attention, then it really isn't too hard. I'll be giving the duck a 9.2 out of 10 in this category, which is the same score as the previous duck I discussed about. As far as price is concerned, they're similar to the Cayuga Duck, costing anywhere from $9 to as much as $14 depending on how many you want, or if it's a hen or a drake. Yes, I'll be giving them an 8.9 out of 10 here. And if you're wondering, yes, female ducks are called hens, same as chickens. As far as ratings are concerned, I'll be giving them a 9.4 out of 10, which means that we have yet another A-tier duck. If you want to learn more about ducks, then you should click the video right here on the center of the screen. It shows you how to properly keep chickens and ducks in the same yard. I'll be seeing you guys next time, which will be on Thursday. Goodbye everybody, and see you then.